Hello there. Hey Corey, nice to see you again. Game on. Shout out for Leafka, of course. Hey Leafka. Joel, how are you? An opening catchphrase, hey? Shall we kick it off? Let's kick it off. Okay, so welcome. The game show episode 7. Can't believe I've stuck at this. There you go. Well, this week's game is a game called Syndicate. It's from 1993. It's developed by Bullfrog Productions, a studio that is very famous in the PC gaming world. I did an article for Exclusively Games about their best games, and Syndicate I ranked as my #1 Bullfrog game. The publisher was, believe it or not, Electronic Arts. So EA was not always the corporate monster it is today, but it was heading in that direction. So let's kick it off with the intro. This is probably one of my favorite intros of all time. And I added it to my YouTube channel a number of months ago. Here we go. I always loved the design of the little hover cars. They're really cool. I used to draw heaps of pictures of them when I was a kid. My little art book. Yeah, absolutely. This game is definitely reminds me of Blade Runner. This was probably my first sort of real introduction to cyberpunk, the whole cyberpunk genre. And, I've sort of only briefly been exposed to it through movies like Blade Runner and Universal Soldier and stuff, which I was sort of too young to watch. This is my first cyberpunk experience, and that's where I think I sort of fell in love with the whole genre. Really dark, sort of dystopian sort of feel about it. So I don't know if you noticed there just then for the Android that they were making, it said that the subject code was Bob, B-O-B. And B.O.B. was actually the working title of Syndicate while it was in development. Look at that. So Bullfrog Production, you might know them. They made games like Populous Dungeon Keeper, Theme Hospital. Bit of trivia actually. Theme Hospital, one of the AI programmers for Theme Hospital, is now the head of artificial intelligence development at Google. So they've got some pretty good creds from a development point of view. All right, so let's make our company first up. Any ideas for a company name? Feel free. Let's go. As you might notice, all these logos that you can choose for your company are they've got that real 90s thing about them, you know, dice and fists and hammers, yeah, all that sort of stuff. Oh, snake with a dagger. How cool is that? Red, of course. CompuGlobal HyperMegaNet doesn't fit, unfortunately. We'll go with Prestige Worldwide. Oh, yes, Vandelay Industries. Let's do it. That'll do. And that is where we will add a cheat code later so we can see some of the bedlam that can take place in this game. All right, so the aim of Syndicate is basically you are one of the several multinational syndicates that controls the Earth in this dystopian future. And your goal is to basically, you know, gain a global monopoly. So you start off in Europe, and I guess the canon name for your company is actually Eurocorp. And in the manual, that's where you'll find all the stories. So there's almost no story to this game. It's all told through the manual. And as you might have seen, I shared on Facebook earlier in the day, one of the cool corporations that's in the game is the Tasmanians. As a cool little description of their corporation, which is the Tasmanian Liberation Consortium. And a few of my favourite elements of that is, according to the manual, crime was a genetic certainty in Australia, and Australian youths were taught the finer points of maiming and slaughter at their mothers' breasts. Unfortunately, a lifetime spent intoxicated meant that Australian criminals didn't succeed as well as their international rivals. And then there was the Great Lager Rebellion of 2140, and the Tasmanians basically reconquered Australia from the Dao, which are a sort of South Asian consortium. Anyway, let's get back into the game. So this is where you'll get your brief on the mission. So this is the first mission. It's pretty easy. You can pay some money to get extra information, which is definitely useful for some of the later missions. And the Enhance gives you more detail on this map here. But money is limited, so I'll skip that. And this is where you get to, develop your agents. So as you might notice, the agents are nude here. That was part of the reason that it had a fairly high rating when it was released. And also the other reason that the rating was so high was that it is, from a gameplay perspective, quite dark and violent. And it was sort of one of the games back in the early mid-90s that was part of the conversation around violence in video games. But it was sort of overshadowed by its big brother, Doom. Anyway, this is the research screen, so I'm going to research automatic weapons. Let's research that. So this is where the Bullfrog was a studio that was really known for their actual research, the version 2 chest. So Bullfrog was a game that was really known for their management games, and they incorporated some of those management features into Syndicate. So you've got to basically manage research, you've got to manage things like buying equipment for your team, which I won't do at this stage. But let's get straight into the game. So we've got a team here. I will take all of them just to show you sort of the party control. And I do love the sort of moody music, and everything is sort of dark and, unhappy. Yeah, the real dystopian cyberpunk feel. So what you can do is you've got these levels. These levels here are API, which is agility, perception, and intelligence. And that basically determines what your agents do when they're left to their own devices. So let's get their guns out. Yes. And basically in this game, see these levels here, they are meant to be, so your agents are sort of like androids, and what you're doing is you're dosing them with the drug. And that was sort of another contentious point about this game, was the fact that you were basically, dosing people with drugs to make them go and kill. It's quite confronting for 1993, when still the majority perception was that games were predominantly for kids. And as we know now, that's far from the case. The median age of a gamer in Australia, according to the latest Digital Australia report, is about 36. I make sure to remind people when they ask why I am an adult with 2 kids playing computer games all the time, that I'm a statistical regularity. Uh-oh. So you can pick up the weapons of the guys you kill, and you can sell them. Money is essential in this game. So what I need to do here, I think I gotta kill some dude. Yes. Well, the fact that I use the term statistical regularity. Yep, got him. Alright, who's got a weapon out? None of them. Yeah, and this is the other cool bit. You can drive around in the vehicles and stuff. And yes, you can run people over. So, easy intro mission. Oh, we missed the victory screen there. And then you get the usual stats there. The benefit of having fewer people in your team, Corey, the benefit to that is basically you don't need to send all your agents. If you send all 4 agents and 3 of them get injured or 1 of them dies, you're sort of running you're just creating costs for yourself essentially in medical bills and repairs and that sort of thing. If it's a really easy mission, you can just send along 1 agent or 2 agents, and you reduce the likelihood that you're going to get in trouble and have to spend more money in the post-mission phase. Another thing to think about though is if you've got 4 agents, each agent can carry about 8 items, and so if you're killing a whole bunch of people and you want to carry more gear back to your base, you basically have to, it's better to have more agents, so you've got more stuff to carry and you can sell them, get more money. So here we go. In this mission, we've got to persuade someone. We've got to use the famous Syndicate weapon, the Persuadatron. So the idea in Syndicate is that everyone in the world has a chip in their brain that sort of controls their behavior. And the Persuadatron sort of hacks them, I guess. And here you can see, in between missions, you sort of got to reload your weapons. Everything costs money. You can sell stuff. You can sort of check on your research, how that's progressing. Let's research automatic weapons, accept. And then I'm going to beef up a couple of my people. So I'm just going to add the chest mod because that has a really cool feature later on when you upgrade it enough. Oh no, I've used all my money. So you upgrade this enough, the chest mod, and it adds a self-destruct. And you'll get to see some big explosions, which is what Syndicate is famous for.
Selected.
Where are we? I'm going to right click on these. There we go. There's my squad.
Selected.
Not like the Taylor Swift squad, but a squad of android killers in a dystopian landscape. A little bit different. One thing you do, so I've got agility up here. You can bump that up. So pump them full of drugs and then they'll run faster. There's another thing you can do. It's called the panic mode. And who's this? No, that's a friendly dude. Let's see if there's any police around. So the police will leave you alone unless you're walking around with a weapon out, in which case they will shoot. And what you can do is you can put panic mode on your agents and they will just sort of act autonomously, and depending on what drugs that you've pumped into them, they will act in certain ways. So, high intelligence and, high agility means they might try and run away from enemies if they're outnumbered, whereas, high perception, high agility, and low intelligence means they might try and fight to the death, and they'll be probably pretty deadly with their weapons. Anyway, let's try it out with these police, because they're guarding the target. Yes, there we go. That was pretty easy. But as you saw, that jacked up all their levels. Oh, we got an Uzi. More Taylor Swift references, Dave. I'll try.
Selected.
Now this is
Selected.
This is probably my least favorite part of the game, is the indoor sections. So when you go inside, the door's open and you've basically got to wander around and hope you're getting things right. Yeah, it's kind of annoying because there was no sort of, I guess, transparency. I don't know if I successfully persuaded him. Ah, there we go. There's the sound. So I just used the Persuadatron, captured the target, and now we've got an exfil.
Selected.
He's allegedly some scientist that is going to
Selected.
help us with our research or something. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating. Luckily, there's not a lot of sections in the game like that, and you can sort of put your agents on, I guess, auto mode in a way. But yeah, or you can sort of coax your enemy out of the building and fight them in the streets. And it's very possible, Dave, that there was a bug that they decided to call a feature, or more likely that so Peter Molyneux is one of the lead designers at Bullfrog, and much as he's responsible for making a whole bunch of brilliant games, one of the things he was known for was making outlandish promises. So it's possible that this was, a feature that he promised that he then subsequently gets removed from the game, or never succeeded in implementing.
Selected.
Leafka wants to know if your robots are looking for Easter eggs. I think she means chocolate, but do games in 1993 have what we would consider gaming Easter eggs? Yeah, absolutely.
Selected.
The first Easter egg was actually it was an angsty developer who worked for Atari, and he developed this game, and he got no credit for developing it.
Selected.
And he put this little Easter egg in the game, which is basically his name. Persuaded. It was his name, and it was hidden in the game.
Selected.
And EA, I think it was Atari, was pretty angry
Selected.
when they found out he did that. But it sort of established the tradition amongst developer for hiding things within their games, and it did push the sort of industry standard to start recognizing developers of games. Let's speed these guys up a bit. Cool thing when you've got the Persuadatron open is you can just go around and recruiting armies of civilians. And those armies of civilians will pick up weapons and fight for you, which is really handy in some of the later missions. You can sort of swarm your opponents with hordes of armed civilians. And if you use the Persuadatron on enemy agents, which we'll come across in the next mission, then you get to basically kidnap them and they come and work for you.
Mission completed.
I bet she wishes she had a Persuadatron as well, Corey. Yay, look at that. Celebration. New weaponry has been submitted to the research department, thanks to that agent that we kidnapped. So as you can see, this game is all about kidnapping and, mindless slaughter and all sorts of things. So it's pretty dark. But you know what we might do now is we'll just go to the menu. We're going to use a cheat code. See, cheat codes were a thing that games used to have. So Cooper Team basically gives you a whole bunch of money and lets you attack anywhere you want. So let's just go to the next mission. But look at all that cash. So what do we need to do? We need to a combat sweep. Excellent. Let's deck out our agents with the best weapons. What have we got? Miniguns, time bombs, lasers. Let's give this dude some other stuff. The Gauss gun, yes. Gauss gun for sure. It's a bit of a suspect looking weapon, but anyway. And the flamer. Yeah, that'll do. Oh, long range. There we go. All right, let's go check this out. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I think what was the map? It was like WA, New South Wales, and Queensland. Which, yeah, it's probably somewhat realistic the way things had been going. All right, let's do this.
Selected. Selected.
Yes, minigun.
Selected.
It starts to get quite hectic, this game. And here we go.
Selected. Selected.
Miniguns out. Let's jack up those drug levels.
Selected. 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 Selected.
There's my Gauss gun guy. Here he is.
Selected. Selected. Selected.
Yes. So there was yeah, that's what you want. As you can see, it's chugging a little bit. Probably got to do with the fact that I'm sort of streaming it in a window. Oh, listen to those screams.
Selected.
So yeah, there was a follow-up to Syndicate. So this came out in 1993, and then in about 1996, if you're a PlayStation gamer, you might remember Syndicate Wars, which was like a 3D game, and it came out on the PlayStation 1 and the Xbox. I mean, not the Xbox, the bloody PC. And that was, you know, fairly highly regarded, you know, much improved graphics, sort of 3D effects and everything. And then in there was sort of nothing for years as far as the series went. And then finally in 2012, EA, which by now was a massive corporate machine that wanted to satisfy the investors by following trends, they decided that they would make a shooter, first-person shooter in the Syndicate universe. And it was not highly regarded, I can tell you that. It was also banned in Australia. So if you do want to try it out, if you want to play it, it's quite difficult to acquire. You have to rely on some less than reputable means, or just, you know, buy it while you're overseas. It's by no means terrible, but it's far from the standard that was set by Syndicate. I don't think I can escape because I've blown everything up. There we go, self-destruct. So in 2015, there was a developer based in Brisbane called Five Lives Studios. And Five Lives Studios was made up of developers who had worked on the original Syndicate and Syndicate Wars. They came over from the UK, settled in Brisbane, and decided to develop their own game, which was a spiritual successor to Syndicate. And that game was Satellite Rain. So it's also a kind of a tactical, real-time tactics game like this. And oh no, all my agents are dead. And in that game, it's sort of got the same sort of cyberpunk setup, I guess. And it looks brilliant. It's got some, you know, sort of stealth element to it, and yeah, it is very much faithful to Syndicate. So it's worth picking up. It's probably only about, you know, $10 or $15 at the moment. It never really made any major waves, but it was very good. I think it was just a consequence of, I guess, poor marketing or something like that. Is the reason as to why it didn't do better. Anyway, we're now in the New South Wales. Let's see what happens. Uh-oh. We've got some enemy agents up.
Selected.
So yeah, that is Syndicate. So I highly recommend picking it up. It is, I don't know if you can probably tell just by watching this, but the interface is a bit old school, a bit clunky. Everything is mouse driven because everyone in the 90s, in the early 90s, was obsessed with this new thing called the mouse. So there's no hotkeys, so there's a lot of clicking. And it does run in DOSBox, which is usually pretty easy to get running thanks to the good guys at GOG.com, Good Old Games.
Please, put down your weapon.
However, it does have some little quirks when you do decide to run it. Anyway, that is Syndicate. So let's just do one final big explosion. Take out some enemies. Here we go, here we go.
Please.
Mission failed.
Boo. And that is Syndicate. So thanks everyone for watching. Next week, the game has already been decided because it was kind of a close run thing between the choices this week. So next week will be Blood and Wacky Wheels. That is a good suggestion. All right, well we'll do Blood next week because I've already promised that. But I think that's a great idea. I should follow up with Wacky Wheels the next week. Anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and all the best. Enjoy your coming gradual escape from lockdown, people in Victoria. Bye-bye.